Hi, Andrea Bodei here from Intelligence Framework, and this is a tutorial how to use the new feature of INFRA, the platform for ethical hacking and automating the penetration testing. So we log in now, and the first page is the news, where we find the latest update of INFRA here, and tutorials and videos here to see the features explained. On the top, we see the latest hacked websites. Basically, these are websites that we know that are hacked today. We have a database of 10,000 websites every day that are hacked, and we just put here the top 10 most important government websites hacked just today. This can be interesting and useful. They can be clients, for example, and sometimes they don't even know that they are hacked. And let's start. So, Scanboard, discovery and port scan, they just show our output here. Discovery is to find all the platform in the network, so we can just try, and maybe we see the computers that are connected to this machine. This will be very useful if we are in a new network, in a new LAN, for example, of a client, and we just want to see all the computers connected. As we see now, there are some machines here, and then we can use them as a target. A similar feature is also in the monitor, and is all automated, so it will put all this machine automatically in the scan mode. Port scan is just to scan servers for the services. So normal machine doesn't have much services, so it's more for a computer that offers services like HTTP and FTP, whatever. So when we want to know, we just put it here, confirm, and wait. Let's wait now to see. So as we see, all the ports of the servers are here mapped with the protocol. Is written if it's open, is filtered, and the banner. This information can be also done with the custom scan, just doing the service assessment, and will give a more usable report that you can share in PDF, for example. So the other tasks here are more specific for the reports. The quick scan is very simple. Everybody can use a test like that. We just write whatever we want to scan and a name, and that's all. We can just start. But if we want, we can just schedule for another day and scan it in another moment, or scan it monthly, weekly, and daily, so like a continuous verification. Similar features are in the web scan. Just we have to select the protocol, HTTP or HTTPS, and the port. By default, HTTP is 80 and HTTPS is 443. We can eventually add credentials. It is optional. Same schedule we can customize to scan continuously and to scan at night, to scan a specific day, for example. IoT scan doesn't have these features, but it's more simple. It can accept instead many targets, so we can put a list of targets here or a range of targets like an IP network. Similar features can be also in the monitor. Custom scan, it accepts different targets, credential, and also a particular type of scan. For example, specific tests for PCI DSS is a standard for credit cards and e-commerce and banks that use it. ISO 27000, GDPR is a standard for privacy in Europe, and can be the full test, or we can customize anything. By default, only service assessment, system vulnerability assessment, and web application assessment are set, but we can choose the module that we like and configure every single module. For example, information gathering are more than vulnerabilities, informations about the server and the target that can be very useful in the analysis. For example, cyber squatting means to check domain names that are similar to the target that can be registered, so to doing phishing. There are other generic tests. For example, there is the test for virtual hosting and subdomains. Imagine there is not a database for virtual hosts and subdomains of a target. You know that a target can have different names, for example, but being the same machine. So having this information can be very useful to attack from other ways the same target, or to attack other server connected to the same domain. Email grab is basically finding emails in the website, in the with registration of the server, with registration of the domain, in a PGP database, and on Google and bid search engines. With is just the information of the server and the information of the domain name. In the service assessment, basically there are tests of the ports and the services, not only TCP but also UDP and other protocols. The user assessment is mainly a brute force of the user, a brute force of the password as well in different protocols, and information that we get especially from the web application, for example, session token and cookies. They can be set in a wrong manner. The vulnerability assessment part is mainly the system part. We use the NAS plugins. Is a technology used by many companies, and we put both private and public NAS. So altogether, we find more vulnerabilities than standard scanners. And there are optional software that you can also configure if you have it, but we don't provide this other software. They are not necessary. Web assessment is the most important part for us, because even if we find more vulnerabilities with the different NAS databases, we not only use the database. For example, we use fuzzing. Defuzzing and vulfuzzing are very useful because we do like a brute force of the variable input, and in this way we can find a lot of problems. For example, examining the output of the server, for example, an error output, or for example a no output or a slowing down that we can imagine there is a problem of denial of service or SQL injection or some execution of code. So in defuzzing, for example, after we map the entire web application, we try to brute force the name of the folders. They maybe are not mapped, but maybe they exist, and we try to brute force name of files that can exist. And in this way we find a lot of folder and files more than that one that are mapped. With the vulfuzzing, we also try to brute force the variable and the input to the variable. And for example, we can send special characters to see there's a difference within a variable with the normal name or with a special characters, and see evidently if they are filtering the special characters or not. If they are not, for example, it's typical to have vulnerabilities like SQL injection and cross-scripting. The vulfuzzing is also called monkey testing, because we are sending almost random information and data to the server and just analyzing the answer. We can do double check for more evidences. We can do potential tests that basically we cannot verify automatically, but there are maybe less important vulnerabilities, but sometimes can be very useful and interesting. And we also can add other feature, other software that are optional. If you have them, we can basically use them and as a plugin, and basically get all the information from them and put in together with the rest. So we do specific tests for databases, for example, according to the version and kind of database. And we can do different kind of injection, SQL and also NoSQL injection at the moment. Remember, every plugin can be disabled or put in full mode or quick mode, so there will be a faster way. Other intelligence models we have are about the reputation. For example, if the website was hacked in the past, even years ago, just to know, can be interesting. And it was hacked for defacement, or it was hacked for doing phishing with cross-scripting, or it was hacked, for example, to put Trojans. And also we check if there are information about it, about his IP or domain name on Pastebin, Wikipedia, Facebook, and other places. If we check the evidences, there will be a new folder in the report with the evidences. For example, approve of cross-scripting, approve of SQL injection, including the entire databases, for example. And denial of service is by default not clicked and not set because can create a crash of the server and is basically different attacks in different protocols and different technologies. The difference between the custom scan and the other ones is that also we can set the intensity, normal, fast, or safe. Safe mode basically will adapt to the bandwidth, and not only your bandwidth but also the bandwidth of the target and how fast is the server answering. Well, in the fast mode we'll go as fast as possible. Obviously we still have the custom schedule, so we can scan daily, monthly, weekly, or just once. We can choose the time and the day when we want to scan. And now go to the most interesting part, the Hackboard, where we have many tools for hacking or to support the other part of the hacking. For example, going to the tools, we see the Armageddon. There is a very strong feature that basically just with this the machine will scan and map all the machines from the discovery, then will do all the port scan, then will do all the vulnerability scanning and the application scanning, and they will try to hack all of them, all automated just with one click. Cyber squatting and email grab, we spoke already about it in the scan board because that feature are already there, and basically it can be useful for the Hackboard for the phishing part. So cyber squatting, we say they are finding domain names that are similar to the target we want to attack, and email grabs is to find emails where we can maybe send the phishing or the spam. Evidence and single tasks are for specific tasks that we want to use, not in the scan board, for example, there are many tasks, but here we can just select just one. VP scan is just the test for WordPress, will be very specific for WordPress testing, for example, checking the plugin if they are updated or not. So let's go back to Hackboard. The tools we see can be useful for the phishing part, where we can customize a fake mail with any address, and the body in HTML can be filled with the information we get from the report, including cross-site scripting or redirection and other kind of code injection, for example. In the denial of service, we've seen already in the scan board part, but this is for a specific denial of service with a different kind of attacks. We can define exactly the target and the port and whatever we need, and we can stop it anytime. Similar is the brute force, where we can choose the protocol and the port and the timeout. We can use a default user list and password list, or we can define our own from our computer. When the scan is ready, it's finished, we have a preview here of the username and login and password that we found, and we can always scan again, remove it, or download the result. There will be just a text file with all the information found that we've seen also in the preview. Like here, for example, is an FTP with 2 usernames and 2 passwords that we found. A very interesting part is the part of the injection and the part of the exploit, because they both can set, for example, a specific hack that we found maybe in the report, or we can do all automated, so we don't know anything, we just put the target and we try to hack it. For example, in injection can be a SQL or NoSQL injection, trying to execute code and download the database. So we just put the target here, and basically we can be able to download everything. So let's try scanning from here. These are previous tasks and reports that we had already. So when you have reports already of that target, it will be faster to find information to attack it. So now we are just to wait a bit and see if there's any possibility to hack it. And as we see, there are already some tables here, so it means the system was hacked and we are successful. We have all the database. Now it's trying also other techniques, but we already found all the database. So when you do this automatically using the Hackboard, you will find everything in the zip of the report, so you will have everything. Let's try the auto exploitation now. So let's use the fully automated hacking. So we have zero knowledge about what to do, but the system will try to find the reports that we have, and we'll compare all the results with a database of exploits, and so we'll find just the useful exploits and then test them and see if this one that is really working. So we just wait a bit and see what's happening. So is trying already some tests. So we found a list of exploit that can be used. Testing all of them. So we wait a bit. Obviously doing auto tasks will be a bit slower than knowing already, but even without to know anything, we were successful now. So it is the file of the password, and these are the privileges and the IP. So we were successful, and this is a shell on the remote server. So we hacked it. Let's see now other parts of the platform, the report part, for example. So as we see, the machine that we are scanning are ordered by the time, and we have a bar here, but this is a preview of the problems that we found in every machine, even when it's not finished. So we can always change the language of the report. So changing from here means that we'll not change the language of the entire platform, we'll just change the language of the report that will be printed. We can always stop and remove, or we can scan again, and this is important to compare the previous reports with the new ones. Imagine that we found problems here, and now we have to fix them. And after we fix everything, we want to verify if there are still the problems or they are really fixed. So instead to configure all the platform again from the scan board, we just click here and scan again and see if there are problems or not. We will have a deeper look to the reports. For example, we can download this one that we use it to hack with the SQL injection. So clicking we download it, and this zip file will be protected by password. That would be probably that one that you configure at the beginning, or would be your username. So the results here, we see there is a PDF that is the executive report. The same executive report is available in ODT Open Document, is the most common standard now for documentation. So it's basically similar to Doc or Microsoft, and it can be opened by Microsoft Office or LibreOffice, and also Mac OS X Pages and similar. So this is the new standard, so you can open with any software you have, you will have no problems, and you can edit it if you want. But we will start having a look to the PDF. Is already formatted. So this one is the executive report, while the technical reports are in this other folder. We put our password, and this is the report. So as we see, this logo here, and is my company logo, is INFRA, but in the customization here in the administration, you can customize the logo that you want. So it will be your company logo or whatever you prefer to put. So this is an introduction of the methodology, the executive summary that is already explained. There is a critic level and with a graphic information. So it will be something with no problems will be in the green or in the yellow. And in this case there are many vulnerabilities, so it's critic and is in the red. Here a bit of the information of the vulnerabilities and the checklist. Checklist can be mandatory in many security standards like PCI DSS, so we had to write all the tests that were done and how it's calculated, the risk and the scopes that basically is connected to the target that we use. Technical results are split in different groups. So we have the information gathering part where there are less important vulnerabilities. They are maybe not really vulnerabilities sometimes, are just information, but they can be also vulnerabilities. So you have to verify yourself. So we find temporary files and backup that they can be a problem or not. You just have to verify. We talked already about cyber squatting, and there are other groups like user and session is more about problems of the user. Sometimes in many organizations there's a proper person that is managing just the user problems. And for example, the fact there is a brute force is written here, and that login is not encrypted and things like that. Every vulnerability, it is always the high level or medium or low. So the level is also graphically explained with the color. And this is the CVSS with a number. CVSS is an American standard that basically give you an idea of how easy, how dangerous is this vulnerability. So it's a way to calculate the risk of this specific vulnerability. Every vulnerability is just one page. It is the report for the manager. It's not the report for the technical guys. The report for the manager has a clear explanation, can be in very different languages from Chinese to Russian. Here we are seeing the English version. This is always a graphic that we design to explain the problem and a simple solution. It is for all problems that we have. So the vulnerability risk, medium is orange or yellow, CVSS 3.5, then it matched with the medium level, an explanation, a graphic, and a simple solution. So even if the manager is not technical, he will understand it's very easy. You have to add HTTP only to the cookie, and that's all, and then you fix it all. Similar problem, another cookie here, and we add already HTTP only. You have to add secure. Secure means that basically only works in HTTPS, so cannot be stolen easily in a man in the middle. So we have other groups, application, server, and also network. Why we level these groups is because the manager should know who to talk with. So the manager is not technical, but doesn't have to talk with that technical person, generic technical person. When something is in the server side, it means he has to talk with the systemist, the system admin. When he's in the network side, he has to talk with the network admin. There is another person. And when he's in the application part, it means he has to talk with the programmer. So all profiles are different, and he wants to talk with different people, so it will be easier to manage the job. As we see also in the other groups, is always the level, the CVSS, explanation, graphic, and solution. This is for the manager. At the end of the report, this is the methodology in all phases, and also the appendix that calculate and explain better the risk. So this was the report for the manager that you can always edit from the ODT file. This file is just a list of the vulnerabilities, can be useful just to do a quick check, while the technical reports are all inside the zip file, technical reports. Here, if you have external software, you can find the report here. Otherwise, you basically have the system or service assessment, the vulnerability assessment, the generic one for the system and network, and the web application assessment. So the service assessment is mainly a list of ports and services. There are double check, also controlling the stack answer. So it means that we will recognize the service even if it's with a fake banner or in a not standard port. You can find here also a second match. There will be a comparison and also UDP test. The vulnerability assessment part is the system level and network level part. Basically, with all the generic system vulnerabilities. Here always you have the red color, an explanation, and it can be another color if it's less important, less in the risk. Always here you have a lot more information with links to other websites, BD to security focus and CVE, so you can investigate more. So there are a lot of more information. As you see, this report is 128 pages, while the other one was probably 13, because the other one has only one page for every vulnerability. It's for the manager with a clear information, and that's all. Here instead there are more information and a lot of links that allow you to investigate more these vulnerabilities. Similar is the web application vulnerability assessment. Here we have an example. We can find SQL injection. In this target we already exploited, so we see the results before. And the final results of this can be also in the extra folder that you will find exactly this URL that are used for the hacking, and for example in the injection, and for example also in other vulnerabilities like cross-scripting. So using this URL you can basically do the exploiting easily. And all the list of these URL are in the extra as well. So we can just have a look, for example, just using directly like that. We see that in cross-scripting we can create pop-ups, or we can do custom things in the web application. So basically we can do an entire format of HTML or pop-ups and whatever we want, also including redirecting. We can write whatever we want, and we can just change whatever is in the page. So it can be easy to trick the users to go somewhere else, or to scare them, or just to trick them to allow you to get the passwords, for example. So the same things will be also in the extra part. So we see this report. I think that is almost the same style of the others. So this is the red color, high level, medium level, and that's all. At the end is also the potential vulnerability part. So these are information that can be useful, or maybe they don't have anything much, but you better check because they are just the potential ones. So let's have a look to the extra part. And the extra is very interesting because you can find not only graphs or statistics of the vulnerabilities, but you can also have the evidences, all these files are evidences of the problems. For example, here is a big file. We have the entire database that was downloaded automatically without any human intervention. We just did the scan and the system was able to hack, so it downloaded the entire database. The points of the database are also here. So basically here we find exactly the variable and that are used to do this hack. So all these variables are vulnerable, for example. So inside the file search PHP, this is a variable test, and this one is vulnerable. So you just need test string that you can copy and paste, for example, on the platform of INFRA here in the Hackboard, and you can use it. Other files you can find interesting, as we spoke before about the email grab. This is just the results of the email grab. It's basically all the emails found that you can use for phishing or for login. Virtual host and OIS, or the information we spoke about the cyber squad, but we didn't see the results. So basically these are website domain names that you can register They are very similar to the target, and so on. You can easily trick the users because the name is very similar. Same things that we see in the point of injection here. There are also the cross-site scripting. So these are the variables that are vulnerable. So in the param.php, this is the variable p that is vulnerable, so you can pass this information and you can do the cross-site scripting like we did before in the browser. And this is almost all. We can have a look to the monitor part. What is the monitor part? Are machine that we want to scan continuously. So while in the scan board, we can choose to scan a machine every day, every week, and every month. Here in the monitor, we scan continuously. So more times a day, after it finished to scan, it will scan again. This is because maybe there are vulnerabilities that we find in our update of INFRA, and you don't know, you're not aware of it, and maybe we found it now, but we didn't know 6 hours ago. So you want to know that this machine has a problem, and maybe because someone in your organization changes something like a password or a configuration, and before was okay and now is a problem. So the machines will be changing colors according to the problems. You can add a single target, or you can do discovery like we did before. So basically with discovery, it will add all the machine in the network here. It will put in scan mode automatically. You can always see the same results here in the report. So you find also the machine of the monitor. So we come back and you see that this machine is in monitor, is vulnerable. It is two machines in monitor but without vulnerabilities, the same one that we find here. And if we want to put the mouse here, we see the preview of the problems, but just clicking, we download the report. And we see it's a similar report than the other one. Just this is not the executive report, just a summary, and there are all the technical reports here. So it's something very similar. In the administration, we can configure the users. That basically they have different profiles. For example, I can change the role if they are just user for the API, if they are pro, basic, or they are admin. Admin can create other user, for example. The network, we can configure on a standard IP. This can be important. Maybe you don't have a DHCP server, so you cannot automatically get the IP, and you have to set it. But we can also do something very interesting, for example, using proxy of different kind, including SSH, SOCKS, HTTP, and also Tor. Tor can be useful because not only can do anonymous scans, but can also attack .onion websites. You know, the Onion website are only available from the Tor network, and we are the only one that can attack them. So imagine if you attack them like we did before, and you see the real IP address, you have a shell on it, so you will discover the real computer that is in a Onion website, so in the Tor network. System is just for updating, rebooting, typical system things, and the logs, if there are any problem or more information that we ask you, maybe you can check there and pass this information to us. In assistance, you can put this code. There's automatically generated. This is just a captcha basically to be sure that you want to connect, and then will generate a code that you have to pass to us. With this code, we can connect knowing the protocol and knowing a login, and only until you click connect or you don't click disconnect. And in this way, we will see what you see. It means we can connect to your same interface, and also we can connect to the administration panel to fix any problem that maybe you can have. And it is creating like a VPN tunnel, so basically you don't need to configure your firewall, your routers. Even if you don't have a public IP, is not a problem. It will find a way. The API are very useful because maybe you can connect to the platform with your own scripts or with your own website or platform. So you can basically connect to Infra and organize your job of security scanning. You can configure if the API will do a quick scan, a full scan, or a web scan, and we can give you some example how to use it. So you basically just download an example. If you don't know how to program it, you just click here and you see just an example. So you do a post with Carl and put in username, password, and the server, whatever. Plugins is if you have external plugins, we spoke about it. They are not mandatory, they are not necessary. But if you have them, why not? You can manage this other software using Infra. So all the feature of Infra will be available also using the other software. So you get all the information from them, and maybe you print the report in Spanish or in another language, and you add all the other information that Infra is able to find. Virtual machine is to download virtual machine for testing. Then maybe you want to attack just for training. And in the marketplace, you find extra plugins that you can buy from us. So I think is all, and hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and keep in touch.